Do you remember when life had color? When joy was a feeling, not just a distant memory? You remember being passionate, engaged, alive. But that woman feels like a stranger now, a character from a book you read a long time ago. If your world has slowly faded to grayscale, if you feel a profound, quiet emptiness that nothing seems to touch, this conversation is for you. This feeling, this loss of your inner spark, is not a sign that you are broken. It is a sacred summons from your soul. In this video, we will not try to force a fire. We will use the deep wisdom of Carl Jung to learn how to sit gently with the ashes, and to find the first warm embers that are still glowing in the dark, waiting for you. Are you ready to gently coax your spark back home? You are the heroine of this story, the woman who has spent a lifetime being the fire for everyone else, only to wake up one day and find that her own hearth is cold. Imagine a woman named Sarah, 58 years old. She has a good life by all accounts, a loving family, a stable career, but she feels nothing. Not sadness, not anger, just a flat, gray, persistent numbness. She goes to a joyful party and feels nothing. She receives difficult news and feels nothing. The colors of her own life have been turned down. And the silent question that echoes in the emptiness, and perhaps it is echoing in you too, is this: is the fire gone forever? And how do you even begin to look for a spark when you don't have the energy left to even strike a match? So let's return to that haunting question. How do you even begin to look for a spark when you have no energy left? To answer this, we must first understand what this emptiness truly is. It is not sadness. Sadness is an active feeling, a color, even if it is a dark one. It is not grief. Grief is the sharp pain of a specific loss. It is not even burnout in the way you have known it, which is often a state of frantic, exhausted motion. This is different. This is a state of profound stillness, a quiet hollowness, a numbness. This is a condition that Jungian psychology might call soul fatigue. It is the deep, quiet exhaustion of the soul itself, a state where the very pilot light of your being has dimmed to a faint, barely there glow. To understand why this happens, we must look at one of Carl Jung's most essential concepts, the concept of libido. Now, in our modern world, we think of libido as purely sexual energy. But for Jung, it was so much more. Libido was the term he used for the total psychic energy of a person. It is your life force, your vitality, your enthusiasm, your creative fire. It is the energy that fuels not just your body, but your very soul. Imagine that within you there is a deep, sacred well, and this well is filled with this precious life energy, your libido. For the first half of your life, and especially for women in our culture, your purpose was to be a wellspring for others. You have poured out this energy day after day, year after year. A pipe for your career, striving, achieving, proving. A pipe for your children, nurturing, worrying, guiding. A pipe for your partnership, loving, supporting, maintaining connection. A pipe for your aging parents, caring, managing, holding. A pipe for your friendships, your community, your home. You have spent a lifetime giving water to everyone else's garden. You have nourished everything and everyone around you. It is what good women are taught to do. But after decades of this constant, relentless outflow, you go to draw water for yourself, and you find that the well is not just low, the well is dry. The ground around it is cracked, and the silence from the bottom is terrifying. This is soul fatigue. It is the natural, inevitable state of a well that is given everything, without being replenished. The numbness you feel is the feeling of cracked, dry earth. And here is where our modern, productivity-obsessed world gives us the most dangerous advice. It tells us to dig faster, to try harder, to find a new source of water, to think positive and push through. But Jung, and the ancient wisdom he drew from, would offer a different path, a quieter, gentler, and far more powerful one. He would invite us to look at the wisdom of the natural world. What does a wise farmer do with a field that has been over-harvested, a field that has given all its nutrients away? He does not whip the field and command it to grow more. He lets it be fallow. He allows it a season of rest, a season of quiet, a season of emptiness. He knows that the emptiness is not death. He knows that the emptiness is a necessary period of regeneration. It is the time when the soil gathers its strength, when the nutrients return, when the land prepares itself for a new, more sustainable cycle of growth. This is the compassionate reframe for what you are experiencing. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are in the fallow season of the soul. Your emptiness is not a problem to be solved. It is a sacred state to be honored. Your soul is not failing you. It is, in fact, working perfectly. It is intelligently and instinctively pulling back its energy, turning off the pipes that lead outwards, because it knows it is time to replenish the well. The numbness you feel is a sacred boundary. It is your soul's way of saying, no more. There is nothing left to give right now. Now is the time for rest. Now is the time for stillness. Your soul is not a broken engine to be fixed. It is a tired field that needs to be fallow. And so the first step in reconnecting with your inner fire, paradoxically, is to stop trying to light one. The first step is to give yourself radical permission to be empty, to be still, to be in winter. But how? How do we honor this fallow season in a world that screams at us to be productive? How do we learn to rest in the emptiness without fighting it? That is the gentle art we will learn next.
This is the great paradox. The path back to your inner fire does not begin with a frantic search for matches. It begins by honoring the darkness. The greatest challenge of the fallow season is not the emptiness itself. It is the relentless internal pressure to do something about it. It is the voice that whispers, you should be happier. You should be more passionate. You should find a hobby. You should try harder. That voice is the voice of the world you are trying to heal from. The world of productivity, of performance, of constant striving. And it is the most dangerous voice of all right now. Because when you try to force a flame from a tired ember, what happens? You suffocate it. Trying to be passionate when your soul is exhausted is just one more chore. It is another task on your to-do list, another metric by which you can fail. It adds a layer of performance anxiety on top of the emptiness, and it will always, always backfire. It will only make the well feel deeper and the ground feel drier. So, the first step of this healing journey is the most courageous act of rebellion you can perform. It is the act of accepting the fallow season. This means you give yourself radical permission to stop trying. Let me repeat that. You give yourself permission to stop. To stop searching for your spark. To stop asking, what is my purpose? To stop feeling guilty for not feeling joyful. Your first task is to have no tasks. Your only goal is to have no goals. You are simply creating a space, a quiet, gentle, non-demanding space for your soul to rest. You are trusting the wisdom of the field. You are trusting that the nutrients will return in their own time if you just let the land be still. This is not laziness, it is sacred rest. And once you have committed to this gentle act of non-doing, the second step can begin. It is a shift in mindset from a hunter to an archaeologist. A hunter goes out looking for a big prize, a grand passion, a new purpose. It is an active, aggressive search. An archaeologist is different. She does not hunt, she observes. She gets down on her hands and knees with a soft brush, and she gently, carefully dusts away the layers of ash and earth. She is not looking for a treasure chest. She is looking for a shard of pottery, a tiny fossil, the smallest, most subtle sign of a life that was once there. This is your new work. It is an act of observation over seeking. You are no longer hunting for a bonfire. You are gently brushing away the ash, looking for the smallest, faintest embers of warmth. What is an ember? An ember is not passion. It is not joy. It is not excitement. An ember is a flicker of curiosity, a moment of peace, a whisper of, that's interesting, a fleeting sense of resonance. It is the tiniest, most subtle sign of life force returning. And you do not find these embers by thinking about them. You find them by feeling them. Which leads to the third step, the practice of micro-connections. Soul fatigue creates a profound disconnection, a disconnection from the world, from others, and most painfully, from yourself. You are living in your head, a gray, tired, conceptual space. Micro-connections are the way back into your body, back into the sensory world, back into the present moment. The inner fire does not begin with a grand idea. It begins with friction, with a spark generated by the meeting of your awareness and the real, tangible world. It sounds like this. You are holding a warm cup of tea. Instead of just drinking it, you pause for 10 seconds, and you practice a micro-connection. You feel the warmth of the ceramic in your hands. You notice the steam rising. You inhale the scent. You feel the warmth as it touches your lips. That's it. That's the whole practice. You are walking outside, and you see a beautifully shaped leaf on the ground. You stop. You pick it up. You run your thumb over its texture. You notice the pattern of its veins, a micro-connection. You are listening to music, and for 1 minute you do nothing else. You close your eyes, and you just listen. You follow the journey of a single instrument, a micro-connection. These acts are so small, they seem insignificant, but they are everything. Each micro-connection is you with your soft brush, gently dusting away a piece of the ash. Each time you feel the warmth of the cup or the texture of the leaf, you are touching a tiny warm ember. You are not trying to make it a fire. You are just acknowledging that it is there. You are just saying, there you are, a little bit of warmth, a little bit of life. These small acts of sensory presence are the kindling. They are the tiny dry twigs you are gently gathering. And in our next section, we will learn how to arrange this kindling in a way that invites the spark to return in its own time.
The greatest lesson of the fallow season is the lesson of self-compassion. It is the understanding that your soul is not a machine to be optimized. It is a garden to be tended. And sometimes the most loving act of tending is to simply let the soil rest. The path to rekindling your inner fire is not a dramatic act of striking a match in a storm. It is a series of gentle, quiet, consistent permissions to feel warmth again. It is the profound truth that your own compassion for yourself is the only kindling you truly need. But how do we practice this? How do we turn this beautiful abstract idea into something real and tangible in our busy, demanding lives? We do it with a small, sacred, and perhaps even radical practice. A practice I call 5 minutes of useless beauty. Let me explain. For your entire adult life, almost everything you have done has had a purpose, a goal, a desired outcome. You work to earn money. You exercise for your health. You cook for nourishment. You even read books for self-improvement. Everything is an investment. Everything is productive. And this mindset is the very thing that exhausted your soul in the first place. The practice of 5 minutes of useless beauty is a gentle rebellion against this mindset. For 5 minutes every day, you are going to give yourself permission to do something that is utterly and beautifully useless. Something that has no goal, no purpose, no metric of success. Something that cannot be optimized or monetized. Its only function is to be beautiful, to be interesting, to connect you to the sensory world for no reason at all. It is a radical act of non-productivity. It is a sacred offering to your tired soul. What does this look like? It could be watching the way the steam dances from a cup of coffee, not drinking it yet, just watching. It could be sitting by a window and watching a single cloud drift across the sky, from one side of the frame to the other. That's it. It could be listening to a piece of instrumental music, not as background noise, but as the main event, closing your eyes and just following the journey of the cello. It could be finding a single interesting rock on the ground and just holding it in your hand for a few minutes, feeling its texture and weight. Do you see the pattern? These are all micro-connections, but they are framed as a dedicated, sacred practice. This practice does two profound things. First, it is a powerful act of rewiring your brain. You're teaching your nervous system that it is safe to not be productive. You are creating a tiny sanctuary in your day that is free of the tyranny of should. It is a 5-minute vacation for your soul every single day. And second, and more magically, you are creating the perfect conditions for the spark to return. Think of it like trying to spot a very shy, rare bird. If you go crashing through the forest, shouting its name, trying to find it, you will never see it. But if you go into the forest and you just sit, quietly, patiently, for no reason at all, eventually the shy bird may just land on a branch near you. Your inner spark, your joy, your passion is that shy bird. It will not return when you're chasing it. It returns when you create a quiet, inviting, non-demanding space for it. 5 minutes of useless beauty is that space. So this is your invitation, your gentle, practical action step. For this week, I want you to find your own version of useless beauty, just one. Maybe it's a specific cloud-watching window, a particular piece of music, the texture of a favorite blanket. And you will commit to 5 minutes with it every day. Put it in your calendar if you have to. Treat it like the most important meeting of your day, because it is. It is your meeting with your own soul. And when you do it, let go of all expectation. You are not trying to feel joy. You are not trying to feel a spark. You are just being with the beauty. That is the entire practice. This small, gentle act, repeated over time, is how you tend the fallow field. It is how you gently place the kindling. It is how you invite the warmth back into your life, not with a shout, but with a whisper. And one day, perhaps when you least expect it, while you're watching the steam rise from your cup, you will feel it, a tiny flicker, a little spark, and you will know that the winter is ending. We have traveled to a very quiet place together today. From the gray, colorless landscape of soul fatigue to the deep, Jungian wisdom of the fallow season. From the tyranny of trying harder to the gentle, rebellious act of 5 minutes of useless beauty. The journey back to your inner fire is not a journey of force. It is a journey of faith. A faith in the wisdom of your own soul. A faith that, like the earth, It knows exactly how to heal itself if you just give it the space and the stillness it needs. For so long, you may have believed that your vitality was a fire you had to constantly feed, a performance you had to maintain. But the deepest truth of this journey is this: your inner fire is not something you have to create. It is something you simply have to uncover. It has been there all along, a steady, eternal pilot light, buried under layers of duties, roles, expectations, and exhaustion. Your work is not to light a new fire. Your work is to gently, lovingly clear away the ash. The question we asked at the beginning, how do you find a spark when you have no energy left? You don't. You stop searching. You stop striving. And you create a quiet, beautiful, gentle space, and you allow the spark to find you. This is the ultimate act of trust in yourself. It is the ultimate act of self-love. It is the understanding that you are not a machine. You are a part of nature, and all of nature has its seasons of rest. Your winter is not a punishment. It is a preparation. And so I ask you to close your eyes, just for a moment. Imagine that quiet, fallow field of your own soul. There is no pressure to grow anything, no expectation to bloom. It is just resting, quiet, still. And in that stillness, you feel a profound peace, the peace of no longer having to try. That peace is the first warmth. That peace is the soil beginning to heal. That peace is the promise of a spring that will come in its own time. And so, as a declaration to the universe, a quiet promise to honor your own natural rhythm, I invite you to go to the comments below and simply write the words, "I am honoring my inner winter." Let this be your anchor, your permission slip to rest and replenish. But I must be honest with you. As you begin to reconnect with your own inner world, you may start to notice a disconnection with your outer world, specifically with your own physical body. What happens when your soul is beginning to heal, but you look in the mirror and feel betrayed by the changes you see, by the wrinkles, the gray hair, the shifting shape of the body that carries you? That is the profound and often painful conversation about the body. It is the journey of making peace with the skin you are in that we will explore together in our next video. In that video, you will find a new, compassionate language to understand the changes of midlife and learn to see your body not as a betrayal, but as a testament to your journey. Until then, be gentle with your fallow season. The fire is not gone. It is only sleeping, and it is dreaming of its return.